Okay, I'm Richard Perry, president of the Historical Society. Sally's vice president, she's back there. Lovells secretary, George is around someplace, he's treasurer. Brenda's on the board. Anybody else here from the board? Okay, those are the people from our star and from the Historical Society here this evening. Welcome to the first hot stove session of 2026. David Howie is here to talk to us about the Saab initiative down in
That's right.
And Louis Johnson's up next week. He's going to talk about his book, The Boy Growing Up in the North Branch. 2 weeks, February 12th, right? Brenda's here to keep you straight.
Oh, don't count.
So, for now, we're going to turn it over to Mr. Howie, and he's going to tell you about the Saab.
Yeah. So for now, you have to deal with me, and I'll tell you the Saab story. We're past the tears, right? Most of us, anyways. So what do we have? Where am I from? Right? That's always what I'm asked. Am I from Grayling? Am I from the area? And that's a dangerous word, right? I feel like I'm from here, and I'm from here in a way that I grew up coming to visit my great-grandfather that lived out in the woods. I remember him saying he lived in Lewiston. If I look at the map now, it's nowhere near anything. It's in the middle of all the different towns, but that's the one he claimed, right? It's like 30 acres of a failed Christmas tree farm. And I ran around in the woods and did kid stuff. Anyways, years later, I joined the National Guard. So then I'm back in Grayling, right? Because this is where we train, right over here, shooting, making all the noise. And I've been doing that for 26 years with the National Guard. I did some active duty time with the National Guard, several deployments. Now I'm a command sergeant major with the HIMARS Battalion out of Detroit. So the rockets, the big rockets that pop and shoot up in the air and make all the noise, that's me too. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, it probably does a lot of things. I'm not, yeah. So we do it quick. It's usually just a couple days. Yeah, but it is loud. I do recognize that. And then through my life, I've done pretty much, I don't know, I wandered and looking for my path, right? I did the military. I sold vacuums. I retired as a firefighter, did like hazmat. I was on the hazmat team for Oakland County. Retired firefighter, managed a Hungry Howie's, which is kind of funny, and stuff like that. So here I am now.
Where do you live now?
Where do I live now? I split my time between downstate and up here. I have a house off of Marguerite. So when I'm working, I live up here, and work downtown doing this stuff, right? As the family transitions from, I got a 13-year-old, she's in a school, taking care of a grandma, stuff like that. So as we transition, my wife's business, the school, the kids, and all that stuff up here, you know, it's not as quick of a process as we'd like it to be sometimes. So the military's prepared my family to be, you know, a little bit of a distance from each other. So we're coping just fine. So this is their vacation place. This was where I worked and trained my entire life. It's more of a vacation place for me now, but it is theirs. They come up every weekend and pretty much spend the summer here. So it's not very difficult for us to be apart like this. What else? What did I miss? So I'm kind of from Grayling. I kind of live in Grayling. So when I saw Saab come here, and I worked with Saab a little bit through the military stuff, and I saw what was important to them. And it appeared to me from the outside that people and the environment and stuff like that was important. Of course, any company, the bottom line matters, right? But that was a priority in a lot of the decision makings that I watched them make. And when they came to Grayling, and I saw the opportunity for Grayling, I saw the opportunity for me, right? A little selfish. I saw an opportunity for me to live and work where I thought that I'd retire someday, right? And that's what I'm seeing from Saab, and I hope you all see that Saab gives an opportunity for people to stay here, work here, have a good career, and not have to export our children out of this area. And I apologize. I know I'm not in Grayling right now, but I do appreciate that Grayling is bigger than Grayling, so that this, area in northern Michigan, right? We really kind of think of Grayling as 2 hours from Grayling. Anyhow, we'll move right along. I got some Saab slides here so we can talk about what we want you to know about Saab. I feel like there should be a hot stove here, and we should have like hot toddies and just having casual conversation. So if there's questions, please, let's turn this into a conversation guided by a couple slides so it's not so much so formal, right? So Michael Johansson's the CEO and president of the larger Saab. Saab is a Swedish company. Saab Incorporated is an American company. We'll get a little bit into that, but a subsidiary of Saab Sweden, we'll say. So a quote from him: "A commitment to society has been at the core of Saab's business since its founding, supporting nations to keep people and societies safe." And everything that we do, and that's really the driving factor of everything. You see munitions and airplanes and all the things that we build and sell to various governments. It's all with the idea of keeping society safe, right? So you got submarines, got airplanes. It's a 400-year legacy. I'm told that it goes all the way back to Alfred Nobel when he created gunpowder, and then the follow-on cannons, and businesses broke off, and eventually Saab was created. What we don't see up there is the car, right? That's probably the other question. Do we make cars? Where are the cars? Don't make cars anymore. Saab actually stands for Swedish Aeronautics. They dabbled in cars, and I think they started in the late 60s, went into the 90s, partnered with GM in the early 90s. GM acquired it, and then sold it in the early 2000s when they sold Hummer and mothball Pontiac and the other ones. But when they sold Hummer and they sold Saab, they sold it to China. So if you Google it right now, you'll find that there is the Saab 9-3 being manufactured in China by a Chinese company. It has nothing to do with us. Just a happy coincidence. It's an electric vehicle, though, if you're into that sort of thing. So we're operating in 5 different countries. We're really all over the world, but 5 different business units like what we're doing here in the United States, United Kingdom, Sweden, of course, Germany, and Australia. So they're each little separate subsidiaries of the bigger Sweden. The United States, the way we're set up in order for us to do business with the United States government and have access to basically secrets, we have a security cooperation agreement set up with the federal government, and that basically firewalls us from Sweden so that it's Americans making the decision, right? We have really great Swedish products, but they're being sold and the decisions are being made by Americans. That's always a topic, foreign control, right? Some of our core areas remain the fighter systems, airplanes, sensors like radars, various weapon systems, submarines, and like electronic command control, basically tracking where service members are at or how units are moving on the battlefield. We good so far? All right, we'll narrow it down to Grayling here shortly. So I have this slide up here because we talked about the core areas. We talked about everybody's got future capabilities. We're all over on multi-domestic. We talked about that, the 5 different countries. Performance matters, right? We got to make our stockholders money, the people, and then sustainability, right? That's what we care about, and that's why you're all here, right? What are you going to do for the residents of the larger Grayling area, and how are you going to impact my environment, right? When I saw Saab and start looking at Michigan, and I started looking at Sweden and some of the other Scandinavian countries, there's a commonality there in that they're very interested in the health of the environment, right? They're huge stewards of the environment. You see that as a government, you see that as the companies that operate within those countries. And then I could see it trickling down into the Saab that we know of, Saab America, Saab Incorporated, right? And that drew me there is what I enjoy the outdoors. That's why we're all here, right? So anyways, our vision, the values, and the mission, really what I want to zero in on is that this is something very important to us, and trust. We want your trust, right? We want our customers' trust. We want our employees' trust. We want our neighbors' trust. It's very, very important to us. Oh, this is fun. Everybody looks at us as this big company, this mega corporation. We have 1,000 employees in the United States. I think that's about how many's at the plant in town, right? I think that's what a Walmart employs. So here in Grayling, though, we anticipate hiring, being at about 98 by this time next year, maybe a little longer. But 2-3 years, we're really kind of anticipating 200 people just here in Grayling.
So where does that position Saab, like kind of in the hierarchy of,
Of the big guys of like Boeing and
sitting in there with 1,000 employees?
yeah, we're not one of them.
Yeah.
We're not. We're not a Raytheon. We're not a Boeing. We're not. We're a tier below. I think we see ourselves as kind of that high quality partner. Maybe not a direct competitor in a lot of things. The things that we do are really good, like the AT-4, the shoulder-fired missile launcher that we're going to make here in Grayling. We do that really well. Nobody makes that product other than us. But we're not making stealth aircraft. Sweden makes the Griffin, which is a competitive 4th or 5th gen aircraft, right? It does really well at what it does, but yeah, we're not a Boeing, we're not a Lockheed.
Is that kind of where the company's positioning themselves long term, is to kind of stay with that? Okay, let's get a couple systems and do those really well. Let's not try to.
I think, of course, like any company, right? They want to be bigger, richer, and all of that, right? But I don't see the aspirations of being like a Lockheed. I think that we enjoy our size, and with our size, it allows us to be agile and a little bit nimble in designing and researching and moving forward on new products. The bigger companies kind of stumble in that area a little bit. So here's a few locations around the country. A lot of it over here in the East Coast. Of course, you see Grayling up there. We make a fuselage partnered with Boeing in Indiana. We have a training and simulation in Florida. It's a picture like laser tag that we attach to the weapons. And if you've been in the military, it'd be Miles, but the more modern version of that, so that the soldiers, airmen, can go out and play war games with lasers instead of bullets. The soldiers last longer that way. I got some sarcasm. I'm sorry. Then we have our own little, we call it SCAPA out in San Diego. They work a lot in AI, and it's kind of our skunk works. Not as big as, it's not producing what Lockheed produced, but it's where our research and development and cool stuff happens.
David,
Yes.
so what are the guys here at Grayling, what are they actually going to be doing? I mean, what is 98 people?
So we will, don't care about, we're manufacture 2 things to start with. The first one's the AT-4. If you've been in the Army between the late 80s and now, you've been trained to use it. I should have brought it with me. That's a huge failure. I'll write that down. I'm sorry. I'll bring one next time. It's a disposable, one-time use, shoulder-fired missile. It shoots about 800 meters. It's about this big around. Put it on your shoulder, and you can shoot a tank or bunkers with it. The other product that we're making in partnership with Boeing is a ground launch small diameter bomb. So it's a small diameter bomb. By small, it's probably like 4 or 5 feet long. But it typically gets dropped off an airplane. It glides to the target, and that's the typical delivery. What we're doing with it, strapping a rocket onto the back of it, and now it gets launched up without putting an aircraft at risk, and then that glides down and attacks the target. Kind of similar to what's shot out of the HIMARS. If you've had an opportunity to go out to the family days and see those shot, they'll look a little different, but we'll be assembling those in Grayling. 2 separate buildings, 2 separate expertise, if you will, for the technicians putting that stuff together.
So just regular people are gonna be able to have those jobs, or do they require some extra specialized training besides what you're gonna give them?
Besides from what I'm going to give them, no. I mean, they got to be able to turn the screwdriver left or right, depending on they want loose or tight, right? Things like that. It's typical. I wouldn't say anything's out of the ordinary as far as like what you would expect somebody to do in a manufacturing facility. The products themselves, there's explosives in them. So the safety steps and processes are going to be a little different, but probably not too different than some other factories that are dealing with other dangerous things. Yeah, chemicals. That's a good point. Yeah. So,
Talk about assembly and quality control
mhm.
and security and maintenance and janitor, things like that.
Oh yeah. So we always like to zero in on the guy or girl that's going to put the parts together and make the thing, right? But there's so much behind that to make that happen, right? You got the facilities engineer, manager that has the building running, the lights on. Somebody's got to clean the building. There's HR and all the other people that you would expect. Quality control managers, IT people, you name it. So out of those 70 people, there's going to be a fair amount of what you maybe call professionals, and then your I don't know, I don't want to say entry level, but maybe non-degree holding individuals, right?
Were they testing this?
Where are they testing which part? So,
I mean, the quality obviously has to run tests.
yep. So there's a lot verification test. All right, we're anticipating. I think we're saying 30 to 90. It's customer based, right? And that's where you pull the candy bar out of the lot and taste the candy bar, make sure that it tastes right, right? So we'll pull a certain number of the launchers out and test them, right? Verify that they'll do what we told the customer that it would do. So right now, that needs to happen in another state, right? You've heard a lot about us testing, if you will, at Camp Grayling. Right now, Camp Grayling isn't set up to test. We can certainly shoot that stuff there, right? But they don't have the cameras and the sensors and stuff to show, look, what you said it would do, it does, right? There is interest, to be open with you, there is an interest to outfit one of the ranges to allow for that to happen. Yep. So the ground launch small diameter bomb will never be tested or demonstrated in Grayling, right? Just the way that it flies and stuff, it's not going to fit here. So that right now is being done in England. But the shoulder fired rock missile, we're shooting just a few hundred yards. It's not very big. It doesn't go very far. That's a little simpler to test, and it does fit into what Camp Grayling has right now. And I said maybe 90 a year. I don't know what that number is yet because it's dependent on what the contract says. But that's not all at once. It'll be sprinkled out through the year. And frankly, knowing what goes on out there and the noise and stuff, it's not going to really add to what's already going on, especially with what the Air Force is dropping and rattling windows and stuff. Yeah. Well, we'll do it on Wednesdays with warthogs so that you don't notice it. So what do we got up here? Got customers. We talked about the GLSDB. That's a contract with Boeing to the U.S. Air Force to UCOM. That gets sent to Ukraine. That's really where the testing is happening. We're hoping to bring a camouflage product here. And Yeah. More questions? Help me out.
Just on the camouflage.
Sure.
Is that the stuff that they lower it into the air and then it screws up like the drones and whatever?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but so it's not. This is, so I don't mean to answer it like that, but,
We had a relative that was in the services.
okay.
And they used that a lot.
No, it sounds, yeah, that sounds like a good product, but that,
Chaff.
oh, chaff, no, no, not chaff. It's just a fabric. It's just a netting that would go over a piece of equipment or on a piece of equipment. Yeah, no, it's not the chaff. It's not the little aluminum shavings. Yep. Yeah, it's just a fancy blanket. Yeah, what else we got? So we view Grayling as the headquarters for Land Systems. Land Systems is the business unit within Saab Incorporated, and Land Systems does a few different things. The close combat, it references like the AT-4 and the Carl Gustav or a couple other rocket launchers. That's going to be done here. Training and simulation, that's down in Orlando. That's where the customer is, so we're close to the customer. Precision fires, that's the ground launch small diameter bomb, that's here. And then the camouflage, that's still in the process of coming here. Oh, by here, the United States. Would transfer the technologies from Sweden, and then it becomes ours, and then we can sell it as Saab US instead of Saab Sweden. So Brad Barnard is the vice president of Land Systems, and we view Grayling as the headquarters for Land Systems. So this is what the administration building looks like right now. We'll probably clean it up before we get in there.
Where is this building?
So, you know where Kirtland College is, right? And then Industrial Drive, it went down a little ways. Now it goes all the way to the city. And if you ever have the chance to go out there and drive that road, it's a really nice road. It goes from 4 Mile right into the city over by where Gray Rock is, right by Gray Rock. Yeah. Getting really good reviews. Motorcycle riders love it. It's only a few miles, but they love it. And the convertible drivers really love it. So if you have those two, I guess you should take it on Industrial Drive because it's awesome. And then you'll see us out there on the west side. You should see that building.
How close are you to finishing and moving in?
Administration building, you see this is drywall. These were taken in December, and we're looking at have certificate of occupancy in April. But you know, the snow has to cooperate. March. We should be in there March. We should get it in February and then be moving in March. But you know how construction goes. Yeah. Projects always go longer than they're supposed to. You notice all these pictures, we've only seen one person working. So, and I don't know why we need chairs. We're building. So here's our earth-covered magazines. This is where we'll store this stuff. You see a lot of cement. And then when this is all done, the roofs are put on it, then it's covered with earth. So it's protected. That earth also helps in controlling any event that happens inside. And if there is another forest fire in this area, the magazines are protected from that. Okay, if you do this, they'll take you to our website for jobs if you're interested in that. If you remember later, just tell your friend to Google Saab jobs in Grayling and it'll pop right up. And I would say as far as that stuff goes, check once. I would schedule it like once a month, every couple of weeks. You should see something. Our postings are typically a month long. And if you do that, you'll see just about everything that we post. And once you find something, apply to it and hopefully you get it. But I'm open. I think the next slide's going to say questions. What do you think? Nope, you don't get questions today. What?
Do you have a construction schedule for the assembly plants?
So those are in progress. I didn't have pictures. I'm not sure why, maybe just too many. Those we're looking at the fall. We were hoping to be in the spring, but reasons it's pushed out into the fall.
The construction,
Oh, the completion. I'm
Completion,
sorry.
okay.
Yep. So the completion of the assembly buildings have been pushed out to the fall. Yeah.
Does Kirtland have the capacity to help in giving any training for jobs in your grant?
Yep. So part of the incentives that we got from the state was a partnership with Kirtland Community College. So the state's helping fund them to help us get training. I said 70 people, right? I'm really looking at that as an opportunity for the larger workforce, right? I think Kirtland will produce way more than what we need. And I'm really leaning into that to help our neighbors and ensure that the larger workforce is educated and more ready to work. We are coming with a little bit higher, quite a bit higher salary than some of our neighbors. So that's going to create an expectation of a higher level of skill, right? And then as the other companies raise their wages, they're going to have a higher level expectation of skills so that they can pay those higher wages. And, that's one of the reasons why we're partnership with like Kirkland College to ensure that workforce is developed. And we're working with other colleges too, but you probably care less about those ones. Yeah.
One thing that I've heard brought up around the community is concerns that there's more land that went into this DNR deal than what you guys are occupying at this point. And everybody's like, well, what's going to happen on the rest of this? Do you have any input on any of that? Or?
Yeah, so the reason why we needed 380 acres is because what happens on our property, we want to keep on our property, right? So not hopefully, in 400 years, nothing's happened with Saab. They got a really good track record. We brought people over from Sweden to help us build this out and make sure that we have good processes in place so we don't have an event like that. But should an event happen, we want it all to remain on our property. In order to do that, we needed 380 acres.
Like
Yep.
buffer zone. It's
Yep.
Not somebody's coming in next month and they're going to start building.
Nope. We have right now we're building 3 buildings. There's a series of magazines, quite a few magazines. They're all underground, so it kind of you'll see a bunch of doors. So it's not a huge disruption of the environment. There's 2 more buildings. There's room for a little bit more, but not like that. And like when we cleared the land, that sounds really bad. We didn't clear the land. We did 65 acres out of the 380 acres. We removed basically the shrub trees because the fire went through there, so there wasn't a whole lot to move anyways. But it was real important to us that we did it in a way that didn't look like here's our 380 acres, got rid of it, and then started building buildings. We wanted to incorporate into the environment, into the nature.
you know if the state has been in conversations or is in conversations with any other defense companies about working in this area?
I haven't heard that. Yeah, I guess the line to say is I can't confirm or deny. I haven't heard that. I feel like I would hear it, and I haven't heard that. Yeah. On that note, we would love to have our suppliers close, right? But I don't know that we don't want to share this, frankly. We want to be a good community partner, good environmental steward, and we feel like the best way for us to do that is to just be us. We don't want our peers to show up here with us. I can't control if they do or don't, but I don't.
And all your supplies will be arriving by truck, is that correct?
Yep, and we're anticipating like a couple trucks a month. It's not a huge impact on the roads and stuff. You had something?
Me?
Yeah,
I was just-
you're
is it
concerned about being
like-
safe.
Yeah, is it safe for all of us? Like,
All of you?
is
All of me?
Saab a threat to other people? You know what I'm saying?
It's the security, in other
Yeah.
words, so that somebody's not coming after you.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're here, our enemies, the United States enemies might shoot at Saab or Grayling larger. Yeah, I don't want to speculate on what maybe Russia or China's thinking, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm thinking that when they're counting their missiles and where they send them, I don't know if Grayling's on the short list.
Probably guard base is a bigger target.
Maybe. Yeah. I know they it's not as easy to access as it used to be, but when you go on there, there's not a whole lot going on there. A couple months in the summertime, that's about it, right?
As far as production goals,
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking either the shoulder mount or the ground based stuff, are there 1,000 of these things that get made a week, a month, a year? What how many of these things are going on? And I understand it's
Ugh. I don't have answers to that. And I'm not trying to dodge it. It's just, right now we're looking at one shift, right? And the one shift, 40 hours a week, will handle what our contract is right now. I think the initial order is something like 10,000. Work them like a dog and do more, work them casually and get so yeah.
Right. I was just trying to get a sense of the scope of what's getting pumped out.
Yeah.
On an annual basis or whatever. And I understand that it's going to vary.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Once we get closer, I think we'll be able to share those numbers. The contract is public information anyways. I just don't want to give you a number that isn't accurate. You know what I mean? Because somebody will put it on Facebook and I'll be a liar.
My statement was, this is what Saab wants us to know. Okay, he covered himself there.
Yeah. Well, to be frank,
Any other information?
yeah, to be frank, the amount of talking to I get about me being open is very little. Probably one of the conversations I had is when I write the word Saab, it's capital S, lowercase AAB, right? That's the kind of thing. It's branding is largely what their concern is. We're a very transparent and open company. Majority of what you're interested in is on our website. There's classified stuff that we can't share, right? That's just fair is fair. But we're not looking to hide anything, mislead anybody. That's largely why I'm here. We believe heavily in trust. We trusted the community, and we trusted that the community trusted us. We didn't appreciate that there might have been some misunderstandings when we first came to the Grayling area, right? And that's our silence allowed for a lot of talking to create some really, really scary stories and a lot of misinformation. And then I came along, and it's not really my job. It became my job to share with you what our actual story is, right? And this is what our actual story is. Go ahead.
Is what you're producing here going to be distributed globally?
Well, what we're producing here, the shoulder-fired rocket, the AT-4, that's being sold to the United States Army. Then they will use that to project their power, right? Probably abroad, right? It'll be for the U.S. soldier to use. The ground-launched small diameter bomb, the larger missile, right now our customer is U.S. Air Force, and they're selling them, giving them to the Ukraine. So they're being used in Ukraine right now. Does that hit what you're looking for?
So are the bombs going to be used by our
Yes.
forces?
Mhm.
Not Ukraine?
Yep. Right. Yeah, go. Sorry.
As far as like waste byproducts of production and things like that,
Uh-huh.
what mechanism do they have for disposal, landfilling, burning, what? And actually, are there a lot of?
Yeah, is there any byproduct? Are there any byproducts? Are there any processed chemicals or whatever that need to be disposed of?
Yeah.
It's going to be, that's a dangerous answer. So we don't mix anything.
You know what?
We don't mix anything. Our explosives the explosives inside the missiles have already been mixed, put in the container. We receive the round, right? It's already contained. In the round is also the propellant, right? So the propellant is mixed, put in the round somewhere else, and then we receive the round. The launcher side, we assemble the launcher. In that process of assembling the launcher, there's stuff like Loctite and tape, and there's epoxy in that process, right? And the amounts that we're talking here is, I mean, I haven't seen your garage, but it's probably similar to what you have in your garage, right? Ace Hardware is going to have a significant amount more. Yeah, I don't know. My garage, I was looking at some Loctite bottles in my toolbox, and I was like, I don't even know what that is anymore. It's so old. But yeah, that's what we're looking at as far as chemicals go. So the touchy one, the PFAS, are we doing anything with PFAS? And the simple answer is no, right? But as we all know, PFAS is in everything. It's in our paints, our soaps, and so on and so forth. So will there be PFAS present? The technical answer is yes. But are we mixing, producing, or putting it in the landfill or anything like that? No processed water, right? So just standard mopping up the salt from the guys and girls tracking it in, but beyond that, no. So that launcher, it is a missile. There is a casing with propellant in it, right? And it comes as a large bullet. It's about this big. It looks like a bullet. We build the launcher, which is like a large rifle. It's even got a rifle on it. So then once that's built, they will load it with that bullet and then put it in packaging. That's essentially what we're doing. So the dangerous stuff like we've seen in some of the other states, we're not doing that. We're not mixing chemicals, not creating propellant or explosives. And we're just not equipped to do that there. So I don't ever foresee that happening. No? Anything? We got a joke? Anybody got a joke? So this is the hot stove. Where's the hot stove?
What kind of security force do you have to have for something like that?
So what does the government require us to have?
What will you have?
What will we have?
Yeah.
What we've been saying so far is armed security. We'll have security. I think we intend on having them armed. There's security out there right now, but that will be beyond secure. Yeah.
Originally, you were going to use range 40 for your, according to what the avalanche says.
Yeah, range 41 is when we do get to the point where we're able to do the lot acceptance testing or verification, it would be on range 41. Yep, that would fit out there. But like I said earlier, the sensors, the cameras, the radars, all that stuff to evaluate the test, Camp Grayling doesn't have. So until either we convince them to get it or we get it ourselves, we need to go to a range that has that equipment so that we can satisfy the customer's contract. Say again? The AT4, do you guys hear the 60 millimeter mortars? Probably not. Yeah. You're just going to have to take my word for it. If you're shooting it, it's very loud. But the AT, no, and that's what I'm going to say. Once you get out of the range where it's being shot, you might hear a pop, right?
So compared to what's going on now.
Oh yeah, right. And compared to what Wayne Copa did back in the 80s with the 8-inch gun, it's nothing. If anybody remembers those, yeah.
They had a New Hampshire guard in here 2 years ago, and they were setting off rockets about half a mile from my house.
Yep. Was 20 2019, and there's a lot of HIMARS and MLRS out there shooting rockets. That was a loud year. It won't be like that. It won't be like that.
Anything else? Anybody? No, there's coffee and cookies left if you want.
So you're based out of the office downtown Grayling next to the
I am.
Italiano,
Say again?
next to the Italian restaurant?
Yep. The social hour is great. Go get their burger. It's amazing. That's the only time you can get their burger. Yeah, so I'm always down there. Feel free to stop in, say hi. I should say not always because I'm doing these things, right? I can't be there and somewhere else at the same time. So yeah, if the lights are on and the door's unlocked, come on in, say hi.
David Patron in there too?
Oh, yeah, he lives in Florida right now. He's selling his house next week, and then he'll be moving up. So he'll be hit or miss if you catch him. But he's been up there most weeks.
All right, thank you. Really appreciate you coming out.
I'm gonna go get a stack of cards. I'll put them out so you guys can harass me with questions that you didn't think of or were too afraid to ask now.
You want the mic?
Close out and introduce you.
Next week, Louis Johnson. I already talked about that. Okay, thanks to Mr. Howie and Saab for cooperating with us.